So what's up, guys? Still got another Fortune OU match. There's some random person in the Wi-Fi room. That I don't, I've never seen a person in the room before. But anyway, this is a Fortune OU match against my friend Kevin or Accelerator. I just posted a match against him like a week ago or something like that. But we always seem to have really great matches, so I wanted to post this one. And like I said, it's an OU match, and Kevin is really good at OU, so I wasn't expecting to do really good in this match. And I'm using the same team I used last time, so we'll just see how I do. So he leads off with this Dragonite. I lead off with Hippowdon. Now, I've never seen a lead Dragonite before, so I didn't know what it was going to do. So he ends up going for the Draco Meteor. So that is actually going to do a lot of damage to Hippowdon. Because Hippowdon has such shitty special defense, that brings me down to 65 HP, but I do get up my Stealth Rocks, which is awesome, because every time this Dragonite switches in, he is going to be taking 1/4 damage. And with the Sandstorm and everything like that, and probably with some of my other entry hazards I'm going to set up later, he's not going to be doing a whole lot of switching. So I go into Tentacruel knowing that he's going to go for another Draco Meteor, and at -2, that is not going to be doing anything to this Tentacruel, because I am specially defensive, and I don't really know what Tentacruel isn't specially defensive, but that does like nothing to me. And now I'm predicting him to be a mixed attacker and to go for the Earthquake here, so I'm actually going to switch out, predict that, and go into my Skarmory, which is a really great move on my part. I mean, it's not really doing anything for me, but well, I mean, it is, because it's getting more Sandstorm damage on this Dragonite, and like later he was not going to be able to switch in too many times. So he does switch out, knowing that he's at -4 special attack, so his Fire Blast is not going to take my Skarmory down. I take this opportunity to set up the spikes, because I want all my layers of spikes up. But unfortunately he does have a Heatran, and here I predicted him to predict my switch into Tentacruel and go for the Earth Power, so I stayed in, but he just ends up going for the Lava Plume. But I actually do end up living that, which tells me he is heavily invested in special defense and not in like special attack or anything like that. But I go for the Whirlwind him out into his Dragonite, which is just amazing for me, because he's gonna take 1/4 damage from Stealth Rocks and the Sandstorm. So that's really awesome for me. I'm at like 46 HP, but I do believe if I take this opportunity to set up another layer of spikes, because Skarmory is pretty useless. He is slow, and since he's at such low HP, he's just going to be taken down to almost anything. So I leave him in his death fodder. He goes for Fire Blast, takes me down. I do have 2 layers of spikes up at the moment, which is going to be pretty helpful later on. So he's taking Sandstorm, Life Orb, everything. So I go into my Dragonite here, HM Slave, which is a much better nickname than his. He goes for the Extreme Speed. I wasn't sure if he would have had the Extreme Speed or not. I would have thought he might have had like Outrage or Dragon Claw, because he is a mixed attacker. But I make a misplay and lock myself into Outrage, which was pretty bad actually, because I completely forgot about his Heatran that he has, and he can just easily switch into that. And now that I'm locked into that, I'm not allowed to switch. So he's just free to bring it in and go for Lava Plumes, or even set up a Stealth Rocks or whatever he wants to do, if he has Stealth Rocks. So he's getting hurt by spikes and Stealth Rocks and everything like that, and I go for the Outrage because I'm actually faster than it, which tells me he is not EV'd in special, or I mean speed at all. And look how much that move, or how much Outrage does. Like, did you see that? That was a lot of damage for it being resisted and everything like that. So he goes for the Lava Plume, hopes to get the burn, but that doesn't really happen, which is awesome for me. I do get the 3rd turn of Outrage, but he makes a good play and goes for the Protect, just to get the confusion on here and more Sandstorm damage on me. Basically, what I did to his Dragonite is being done to my Dragonite right now. Stalled to hell by, like, the Sandstorm and everything like that. So I'm going to switch, going to Tentacruel, knowing that he probably can't touch me, because I think I know his moveset and he doesn't have the Earth Power. So he's going to switch to, he goes into his Gengar here. Now, I was thinking it's a Life Orb set, or it's a Scarf or Spec set, but I was like 99% sure this is a Life Orb set, but I see the leftovers. Now, I have no idea what kind of set you're running here, Kevin, but whatever it is, it's pretty damn weird. He goes for the Hypnosis, and I'm like, what? I haven't seen Hypnosis on a Gengar in like forever. Like, I mean, he is playing on like Platinum version as well, so he does only have 60% accuracy. So I don't quite get the reasoning behind that, but whatever, it works for him. He's got my Tentacruel asleep. I do believe I stay in here knowing that even if he has the Thunderbolt, I'm pretty sure I can live one. But seeing that he does have that Hypnosis, I'm like really positive he doesn't have that. It doesn't have Thunderbolt, and he has Focus Blast instead. So I know I can stay in here for a few turns anyway to burn some sleep turns and take some Shadow Balls, because I mean, unless he gets a special defense drop, which would really suck for me because I wouldn't be able to take as many, but he goes for another one. I live with 67 HP, wake up, go for the Surf, because I thought he might have like Substitute or something like that, because I think I checked on Smogon and these sets usually do have Substitute, so I wanted to break its sub if it had it. But even though Tentacruel has like horrible special attack, like 196, like at the moment, I'm pretty sure that's what mine has, that Surf still did a really big chunk to this Gengar. So that's awesome. I'm going to switch, go into my Empoleon just to take the Shadow Ball because I know it's coming. And Empoleon can take Shadow Balls all day long. Like, did you see that? Like, I'm just going to recover like half of that with leftovers. So basically my Sandstorm is negating his leftovers, and it's not really affecting mine at all because most of my Pokemon are Steel Pokemon. So I'm going to switch into Tentacruel here, knowing that I'm baiting him to go for the Focus Blast, because I want to see if he does have it, and he does. So Tentacruel is actually going to live that, which is pretty funny. It actually didn't even really matter, because I am going to be taken down to the Sandstorm, and basically Tentacruel is just a death fodder, because I wanted to scout if he did have Focus Blast, and he does have it, so this Gengar is still a pretty big threat to my team, but I do have my Choice Scarf as Elf, and I'm pretty sure he watches my videos, so he knew this thing was Choice Scarfed. So he had the advantage right from the beginning because he knew my team, I do believe. I could be wrong, but I'm not sure. So I go for the Zen Headbutt. He goes into Heatran thinking he could take that, but with Spikes and Stealth Rocks, he is not going to live that. So he's taken down. My Scarfed Zelf here is looking pretty good. He doesn't have a whole lot to take it, actually. Like, he goes into a Vaporeon, which has, like, only base, like, 60 defense or something like that. So I'm pretty sure I could two-shot it, but I don't want to stay in because I don't want him to go for the Wish Protect business and stall me out. So I go into Empoleon, knowing he cannot scratch this Empoleon whatsoever. Even if he has HP Electric or not, you're going to see how much it's going to do on this Empoleon. It's going to do like just the same as it did on Tentacruel, if not even less. So he goes for the Power Electric this turn, and it seems that like every Vaporeon these days has it, but look how much that does. Honestly, that was it. And people are being annoying outside and banging on things, but hopefully you can't hear that. So I go for the Toxic because this is like hey, shut up. I'm doing something. God, idiots. So I go for the Toxic, and this is my like specially defensive Empoleon. I have two specially defensive bulky water Pokemon on my team. I don't know, it seems to be working. This team is like 4-1 right now. So I think it's pretty good for a stall team anyway. He goes for the Surf, thinking maybe with like the Stab and everything like that, but it would do more. I actually checked it, and Hidden Power Electric still does a little bit more. So I roar him out into his Gengar, and the point of the roar on this Empoleon is to Toxic his walls, like because I do have Toxic Spikes, but I wasn't able to set them up. So I also have roar, for Stealth Rocks and Spike damage too. So that's pretty good. So I'm going to switch out here, go into Hippowdon as a death fodder because I don't really need it at this point anymore. So he goes for Hypnosis, misses, which is fucking lulls. Didn't even matter though because he's just going to take me down with a Shadow Ball. I mean, if it did hit, I could have just switched into Empoleon to take that. And I could have had Hippowdon as like a sleep fodder, but it doesn't matter. Excuse me. So he goes for Shadow Ball, takes me down. That kind of sucks, but now I do believe I go into my Scarfed Zelf again. Because based on his team so far, I haven't seen anything that can actually take his Zen Headbutt like safely and hit me back. So that's what I'm gonna lock myself into. He switches, goes into his goes into his Vaporeon here. Takes a lot from Spikes and Stealth Rocks. And since he's poisoned, he's not his like stalling capabilities are like basically like cut in half because every turn he's gonna be taking more and more like toxic damage and sandstorm damage. So that's pretty awesome for me. My Zen Headbutt is a solid 2-hit KO, and he is a Wish Protect set, so I don't. I think Vaporeons are almost kind of useless if they don't have Toxic on there, because what are they actually doing? Like, Wish and Protect, that's great, but they're not actually really taking anything out. Like, they have Surf for stab and everything like that, and in power Electric, but what's the point of going for Wish and Protect if you're not going to be stalling the opponent? All that's happening is either they're gaining leftovers or not losing Life Orb because you're going for Protect half the time. So, I mean, like this situation, yeah, because Sandstorm. But I mean, Sandstorm is only does like 1/16 of your health, I do believe. So, yeah. He's going to be taken down to the Toxic here. That's awesome. He would have been. He basically just dug his grave. He could have went for Surfs, actually. Because he could have lived another Zen Headbutt, I do believe. Went for Surf and did some damage on his elf. But he didn't want to do that. So now he brings in a Scizor. And I'm like, why? Why didn't you bring that in earlier? But I mean, I'm not complaining. I go into Dragonite here as a Death Fodder. He's going to be taken down to the Bullet Punch. I'm able to go into my Empoleon here because, well, he's probably choice banned, like 95% of them are, so he's going to switch. He goes into his Gliscor, I go for Surf, and he was thinking, I honestly don't know what he was thinking, but my Surf is actually going to be taking this Gliscor down. I actually thought he was going to live that, but based on how I took him down, I'm assuming he's an offensive one, like Swords Dance and stuff like that, because I'm pretty sure with HPVs he would have been able to live that, but he doesn't, so that's great for me. I just tied this game up. It's 2-2. It's really close. He goes into his Gengar. Now, I was thinking I could live maybe one Focus Blast, but he goes for Hypnosis, which I was kind of surprised about because I might not have been able to live that Focus Blast. If he was a Modest Nature, I don't think I would have. And Focus Blast has 10 more percent in accuracy than Hypnosis does, so he should have won for that. That was a misplay, and that is going to cost him, because his final Pokemon is Scizor, and if he locks himself in a Bullet Punch, Empoleon can take that. If he locks himself into Superpower, Azelf can take that. So I go into Azelf knowing he's probably going to go for Superpower, and I want to weaken his attack and stuff like that, so Empoleon can come in safely and take him down. But he goes for the Bullet Punch. I don't know if he was predicting that switch or he just went for Bullet Punch just for whatever. But Azelf goes down. My final Pokemon's Empoleon. I'm just going to go for the Surf because I might as well. I can't Roar. Ice Beam's not very effective and Toxic doesn't even affect him at all. So I go for the Surf. That's going to take his Scizor down. So great game, Kevin. That was a lot of fun. This team is actually really good, so I'm actually surprised I beat you in OU because you're a good OU player. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the match. Last video, I got over 20 likes on the video, which is really amazing. So if I can get the exact same amount of likes, I'll be happy. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the match and see you guys next time.